Vice President General Manager Intel EMEA, Christian Morales.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It's a great pleasure, like every year now for several years, to be here at CeBIT. And usually we'll do it this in the morning as the press conference opening. Today we do it in the afternoon. Hopefully we have had a lot of experience during the day and you have seen a lot of demos and a lot of devices out there. And it's really great to be here. So I'd like to start by, and this screen is not up here, so if you guys can put it up, it would be great. We're going to be talking today about technologies. We're going to be talking about devices, and we're going to be talking about a very, very important launch that we are doing worldwide for the first time. And I think it's great we do it here at CeBIT. Interestingly enough, last night, for the people who were at the opening ceremony with the Chancellor Merkel and with the President of Brazil, the theme of this CeBIT is about building trust, and this has to do with the devices, with the way we interact in the cyberspace, with the way we conduct business around the world through the internet. So I think it's really important we talk about the themes and we go a bit deeper into those topics. So with this, I think it's very important that we talk about not only how we want to interact with the technology and what is the kind of experience we want to have with the technology, and when it comes to the experience we want to have with the technology, it's not only about the PCs or the tablets or the smartphones, but it's also a lot of other devices that we are using that we want to have interaction with. And I think it's very important to say that we cannot get to those devices without all the improvements and all the innovations that have taken place in the technology. I think it's very important that when people interact with the devices, that those devices and this experience is engaging, is enjoyable. It needs to be very consistent when you move from one device to another device, regardless of the operating system, regardless of the applications that you are running. And it needs to be aware of what you do, who you are, what your habits are, and eventually, if you want to, also where you are, because you might want to have information about the place and the environment of where you are. And it's got to be as secure and as trusted as possible, so that you share your information with the people you want to share it with, and you give access to the people you want to give access to. So here I just want to show a quick chart about all the innovations that have taken place from a technology standpoint. And it's important to say that we have been leading in many aspects. One was on strained silicon that we introduced back in 2003. Then the high-K metal gate, without which we will not have been able to go into 32 nanometer production that we have been now for 3 years. And we are shipping, as we speak, 22 nanometer technologies to the marketplace. And those are based on 3D transistors. And without them, you cannot go to 22 nanometers, and it's even more difficult to go to the next generation, which is the 14 nanometers. So we have committed very, very significant investments, as you can see here. We are upgrading 4 fabs on 22 nanometers worldwide, and we are right now investing a lot in the next generation 14 nanometers, and this is the absolute largest, high volume, most advanced factories that we have in the world. We just announced last week, and we inaugurated a great center for yet other devices, which are devices where computing is getting more and more into, which is the cars. And we have inaugurating a worldwide development center for products and applications in Karlsruhe, which is where the first cars were designed over 100 years ago. So this is a place where there is still a lot of innovation going on when it comes to devices that go inside the cars. And we have also inaugurated a lab in Darmstadt with the University of Darmstadt about security and about privacy. So security is very important. And we want to make sure that when it comes to identity, attestation, data, system recovery, that we can bring the best possible experience to the users. And this is also the reason why we made this very significant acquisition into an investment into McAfee. The McAfee people are also here with us today. If you want to interact with them later on or during the week, we have a lot of presence from them here. Very grateful of this. And definitely we need devices that are very secure, and we need an infrastructure across the world in the internet economy that is as secure and as trusted as possible. We do deliver a whole set of architectures for different devices, as you can see here, from PCs to mobile phone, to tablets, to servers. And today we would like to show our new products with the servers, in the servers and in the notebook arena. And with this, I will ask that we play a short video, please.
The new IT equation. One of you, more of everything else. But the user-generated data explosion is only the tip of the iceberg. Data center to data center, machine to machine interactions, more than double user activity. The Intel Xeon processor E5 can meet and scale to the requirements of a data-rich planet, turning data chaos into your advantage. What do you need to survive and thrive? Get ahead of the next digital revolution. Powering tomorrow's services and experiences.
And to talk about this very, very important introduction we are doing today worldwide, let me call here on stage our Vice President of the Intel Architecture Group and General Manager of the Platform Engineering Group, Lisa Graff. Lisa, please join me here to introduce, to make this great introduction. Thank you.
I'll save this for later. It's about the size of this ultrabook.
Yeah,
all right.
Do attribute to it.
That's right. All right, good afternoon. Great to see such an amazing group here and everyone so interested in the new technology. I'm thrilled to be able to launch at CeBIT for all of Europe here in one of our first worldwide launches, our newest processor for the data center, the Xeon E5 family. Now, before I get to that, and I'll tell you all about it, I want to give you a bit of background and a sense of the environment in the industry that we're in and what we're bringing this new technology into. We can go to the next slide. Thanks. From a user experience standpoint, we are at amazing times. And you all know this and experience it. You have devices that you carry with you from, the smartphones and tablets, notebooks and ultrabooks that Christian was showing. But there's a tremendous amount of other devices that are connected. Everything from digital signage that you see, all over the place here to technology that goes into medical imaging and instruments, and just a million other examples like that. In fact, and you saw some of this in the video, Intel forecasts that there will be over 15 billion connected devices by 2015, and 3 billion people connected. It's a tremendous amount of new users, new data, and new devices. And so what does all this device talk have to do with the data center? Well, of course, that's everything that it's connected to. So we'll talk a little bit about the implications of that. So what does this actually mean for IT? A traditional way to think about IT is these are the guys that support the business, that support the company. They keep the servers up and running, manage all the computers that are deployed to employees. But increasingly, IT goes far beyond that. And in fact, they're even the face to the customer. So they become an integral part of the business, if they're not already. And I think the companies that do the best job at integrating and having IT take an incredible leadership role in the company will have a great competitive advantage. And there's 3 areas I wanted to talk about that have to do with this. And they're buzzwords that all of you guys write about a lot, right? Cloud, so the flexibility, the versatility, the increased efficiency you can get in these very large data centers, be that public or it can be private clouds. Consumerization of IT, which typically we start to think about from the perspective of, hey, I'm bringing the device that I use at home to work. It's my personal device. I don't care if IT gave it to me, but I'm bringing it with me, and IT has to manage that. But I think consumerization goes far beyond that as well. And the third one is around big data. The tremendous amounts of data that all those 15 billion connected devices generate, what do we do with it? There's a great opportunity to use that for competitive advantage. But I wanted to give you an example to kind of bring home what this really means. And as I was flying over here, and I fly a fair amount of work, the airline example popped to mind. And I'm sure many of you travel and may travel a fair bit. And if you think about when you booked flights, whether for vacation or for work 5 years ago, 10 years ago, it might have gone something like this. You call the travel agent or maybe the airline directly. They'll walk you through prices and options and things like that. And the face of the company, be that Lufthansa or United or whoever it is that person on the phone that you're talking to. That's the face of the company to you. And then once you've got your ticket, you'll go to the airport the day that you take your flight, and you'll stand in line, and then you'll talk to the agent at the ticket counter who'll give you a boarding pass, and that person is the face of the company to you, and how you view it and how you interact. Of course, how many of you do that today? I don't go near the phone if I can when I make my airline reservations. You do it all online with your ultrabook. This will be a test how many times I can say ultrabook in the data center presentation. And you get your reservations. You get to look at lots of different options at once. And so you get that. You print your boarding pass. You go to the airport. You don't stand in line. You go straight to the gate. And maybe on the way, you check your smartphone to see if the flight on time, what's the gate. You have apps for that. You have all these different options. So suddenly IT is the face of the company to you. They're increasingly put in place, and you can look at examples in retail as well. Maybe it's digital signage at your favorite store, and they know who you are. And it's not just the salesperson that knows who you are, that might be there the day you come in or not. But the sign, if you give them permission, can recognize you, know what you bought, what you liked, might even send a message to the salesperson in the back that you're here. And oh, by the way, this sweater that goes with the pants you bought last week. There's a tremendous amount you can do mining that big data. Some of it, from a data center perspective, is put into cloud infrastructures. And of course, this is that next evolution of the consumerization of IT. It's not just that IT deals with the consumer devices by their employees, but deals with the consumer, and whether it's the marketing department, the sales department, the advertising department at your company that says, hey, I need the face of IT to be our web presence, or the apps that we build, or all these new ways, social networking, get me on Facebook, get me on Twitter. It's bringing all of that together, and that's what I mean when IT has this tremendous opportunity to go after these connected devices and bring it all together for the benefit of their company. But how do you do that? And if the data is exploding and the compute and the networking is exploding, then what are the challenges that IT has to face in order to bring all of this together? And we put a few of them up here. And there's one big category that I just call performance. Because you have to look at performance not just in the server itself, for example, and in the compute, although that's a key one, responsiveness and that kind of thing. But you need to look at the data as well. Storage is exploding. How do you manage it? How do you handle it? Performance of that as well. And then, of course, the network. You're bringing the data in off the network and then sending it back, and you have bottlenecks across that. So you have to handle it as a collective unit. In addition, and especially in certain parts of the market, cloud is a good example of this, power is very important from two aspects. There, of course, is the power the data center generates itself and the cost of that. And when you get to talking about 5,000 or 10,000 or 100,000 servers being deployed, as some of them are in these very large installations, power is a pretty important thing to watch from a financial and a cost perspective. But it has another element as well. If you can do a really good job managing power, you can save yourself building another data center, which is a tremendous cost. So when you put all of these things together, Intel's focus on our newest technology has really been working with our OEM customers, getting feedback from end users across a lot of different market segments, from some of the things I talked about to high-performance computing and enterprise, to really understand where to focus the value of the technology. And we've put all this together to address some of the kind of opportunities and concerns I outlined, and we think it's a great opportunity for IT to do data center transformation. So, the processor, what we're launching. And before I forget, because I'll get into this and then I might forget, this is it. So the new E5 processor has about 4 different things that I want to walk through with you in terms of its new benefits. Of course, performance is always one of those. A few more. So you weren't taking this many pictures when it was just me. That's okay. It's all about the processor. So, one of the key things in performance, and we'll show you kind of the big picture and then I'll walk into some of this a little bit, is the benchmark you see up here, up to 80% performance increase over the prior generation. Tremendous jump in performance. Now you guys are kind of used to that. We've increased performance over 100x in the processor since 2001. But the focus here is not only on the raw performance, but it's very much about balanced performance. Memory, compute, and I/O, that's in the server itself, and then we'll also talk about storage and networking. So we'll go into that a little bit. 80% is the first number. The second thing to think about, and it's really incorporated into that 80% is I/O. But I call it out separately because we've done significant new things. The number I'll leave you with is 3x the bandwidth on I/O. That's one of the largest jumps that we've ever had in I/O performance. Security, obviously a key concern, one that I talked about on a prior slide, and I'll tell you a little bit about that. And the final thing I'll cover is power and power efficiency. And the number to remember there is 50%. 50% increase on performance per watt. So 80 and 3 and 50%. So I'll walk you through those a little bit. So big picture performance. It wouldn't be a launch without benchmarks. And we have over 15 new world record benchmarks. And the thing I want to tie back to the first part of our conversation was it's really across a multitude of workloads. It's spanning cloud and storage implications, enterprise, virtualization, and high-performance computing. And so on our website, you can see all the benchmark results and details. I won't get into a lot of detail here, but it's across workloads, and it's across the breadth of our OEM partners. One of the things I want to call out in performance in particular, because again, it's one of those things that is a significant above and beyond, one of the largest jumps in this kind of performance we've had from generation to generation, is a new feature we have called advanced vector extensions. So what is that and why do you care and what does it matter? Well, it has to do with high-performance computing. Because the kind of math that most high-performance computing applications, and other applications actually, use is floating point. And this new capability called advanced vector extensions doubles the floating point. I can't remember a time when we've had, this is one of the largest jumps we've had in that. And so, for example, one of the key industry events around high-performance computing is Supercomputing Conference. You guys are probably all aware of it. It happens twice a year. In November, last November, before we launched the product, right, so that was 4 months ago now, at the supercomputing conference there, we had done some early shipments of this new E5 processor. In fact, we've shipped over 100,000 of them now, well over actually. And some of those deployments went into high-performance computing. And some of them were entered, and in fact, we had 10 entries on the top 500 on a product that hadn't even launched yet. And one of the significant jumps was due to this feature exactly, because LINPACK, the benchmark that's measured on that, doubles with this capability. So big jump in that. And then the two examples here that have quotes take us beyond HPC. So whether it's in healthcare for faster, less surgery, or on a lighter note, the face.com, it's facial recognition, finding your friends online. It does a tremendous amount to speed up some of the kind of data that's not the normal, text-based data, but video and images and that kind of thing. So a big jump across workloads. So I mentioned in the introduction about I/O, and I said the number to remember was 3. So let me walk you through how we get there. Triple the I/O bandwidth. So if you look at a server, oops, wait, I went too far. Let me run the demo on AVX first, and then we'll come back to I/O. Please run the, go ahead and run the video. And what you're going to see in this video is a graphical example of the 2x speed up due to AVX.
Advanced vector extensions. We are utilising a pre-release version of Maxon Cinema 40 that supports AVX. As you can see, the AVX-enabled system has nearly twice the performance than the disabled system. Advanced vector extensions double the floating point operations that a processor can perform from 128-bit to 256-bit.
Okay. So it gives you a bit of a visual sense of that. Server demos aren't always the most exciting demos. Christian may have a more exciting one with Ultrabook, but we have bigger products. So let's talk about I/O. So I said 3x on the I/O, and I'll walk you through how I got there. So if you look at the currently shipping, up until today, the generation of products, you have a processor in the server, right on the motherboard. You have the memory. You have something called an I/O hub, and the data that comes from the internet through the network comes in through the network adapter, through this I/O hub, the processor memory, and then does some work on it, goes back again. And that's how it works. And one way to think of it, it is like a highway system in cities, right? So the faster you can get through would be the faster you can run along these streets, right, that you see from network to I/O to processor to memory. And if you look at these as intermediate cities and stops you have to make, you want to make as few stops as possible. So if we go to the next one, the first thing we did to get that 3x jump was we integrated some of the capabilities in the I/O hub into the processor itself. So you reduced a hop, you reduced latency in it, actually by 30% by doing that integration. The next thing we did is we are very proud to be the first processor manufacturer to integrate PCI Gen 3 into the processor. So this uses the newest, latest standards bus, but it puts it in the processor for a lot faster performance. And in fact, PCI Gen 3 doubles the bandwidth. So you get less latency and double the bandwidth. So much faster speed on your highway. And then the third and final thing that we did is something called data direct I/O. And that is, okay, I bring my data in, and this is the way it worked in the past. You come through the streets, right, through the different hops, but you have to go to memory, and then you can do some processing on it in the processor, and then eventually you'll bring the answer back out and onto the network. But you have a lot of hops and a lot of things to go to. So with this new technology, Intel Data Direct I/O, you can go straight in the processor, but you don't have to go to memory. So you can store it in the processor cache, and increase the size of the cache, and then do the processing work and bring it right back out. So the combination of these things all together gives you that 3x jump in Ben. So that gives you a sense for some of the key capabilities around 3 of those 6 items I showed you underneath IT challenges. Some of the performance, the I/O, that kind of thing. So let's talk a little bit about security. There are 2 key security technologies that Intel introduced on prior generation processors, and we've continued to invest and enable more OEMs, more software vendors, etc., and the progress and maturity of these continues at a good pace. And so I wanted to refresh you on what these are, because security, I think, is increasingly critical in the deployments for the kinds of usages I talked to you about earlier. So the first one is trusted execution technology. And simply what this is when systems or data centers get attacked, software gets attacked, there's lots of great products and software out there to protect you from viruses, from malware, and this kind of thing. But constantly, sneaky methods are being figured out to continue to attack the systems. And one of those is to get in before the application, in fact, before the operating system or the virtual machine even launches, and attack at a very low level of software that's very close to the hardware. So we put in trusted execution technology to protect and prevent against that, so that you can't get in and do that. And then in fact, you verify it's known good software, and then you have that and you lock it down. And that's being used, the example here is DuPont, so increasingly being used and adopted by end user customers. The second one is something called AES-NI, Advanced Encryption Standard, New Instructions. Intel likes to do new instructions. We take things that run in software and we can move them into hardware and speed them up dramatically. And encryption is a great example of that. One of the reasons that people sometimes don't use encryption is because if it's purely software-based, it can be very slow. So by using it, the hardware implemented version, and more, this is in compilers and in software, increasingly now, you can significantly speed up encryption, not lose any performance, but be able to protect your data. And then the final area that we'll cover is power. So as we've done generation after generation after generation, we continue to improve the power efficiency. And in fact, for this generation with the E5, we've improved it to a 50% increase in performance per watt over the prior generation. And you can imagine that we've done some of that because we've just made dramatic increases in the performance. But of course, when performance goes up, typically, so does power. So I'll give you one example of the things that we did with this to help keep the power lower while we raise the performance level. And that is, we looked across the microprocessor architecture, and for all of the different pieces in the architecture, we made sure to reduce the power all at once. So it's one thing when the cores are running, they're taking higher or lower power, but if you keep on everything else, the access to memory, the access to I/O, then your power in general is higher. And in fact, the more you integrate into the CPU, you're going to continue to increase that. It's like you leave all the lights on in your house, and maybe only in the kitchen do you turn them on and off. This is being able to dim them intelligently and automatically across the house as people enter or leave the rooms. You're able to bring it up and down as needed for the most optimal power efficiency. Another aspect that we're doing in terms of power is around being able to manage power at a rack or even a data center level. And this comes with some hardware and some software that we've built into the product. And again, this is something that we've launched on prior generation products. But with the E5, we come out with Node Manager 2.0. And basically what this is, it enables the IT manager to manage that rack. And maybe they can only put half the number of servers that the rack would fill, because they take the rated power of the server and it maxes out. But maybe your workload never gets to that max power, so you've wasted rack space. In fact, you've over-provisioned the power potentially. This enables you to see what's actually going on with power and even cap it and say, no, I'm not going to use that much. I want to fill this rack up and hold it at this power level. So it gives you lots of different instrumentation. And I am thrilled to have the quote from Dell here that they are one of the newest adopters of Node Manager, and you can talk to them all about it when you get the opportunity to chat with all the different OEM vendors. But we're very excited to have them on board with this power technology to really help manage that at the data center level. And then to kind of bring things all together, this is one of the largest and the most number of designs that we've seen across our generation of products. So over 400 designs that we're tracking. And what's interesting about this is it's across 3 different areas. You're used to us coming and saying we have lots and lots of vendors around servers, which of course we do, which we're very grateful for. But what we're seeing in the industry now is move to more standards-based architectures in both storage and networking. 20 years ago when Intel came into the server market and we grown the business, we did it based on standard high-volume servers. The price of servers at that time was what, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a server. Now it's significantly less than 1,000. Volume economics brought the volume way up and prices way down. We're already seeing this happen significantly in storage. Ago, our share of Xeon in the storage arena, external storage boxes, was maybe 20%, and now it's at about 80%. Using standard components, less ASICs and FPGAs, you get products to market more quickly, more effectively, and less expensive. And then we're seeing that happen in the network space, starting to happen there and increasing there as well. And then so, to wrap all of this up, I gave you a sense for some of the incredible opportunities of transforming the data center because of these trends that are happening in the marketplace. 15 billion connected devices, cloud, consumerization of IT, the opportunity to do analytics on big data. And so we are very excited to be able to, with our partners, launch our new product that we think will address many of these challenges. And the final thing to leave you with, 80% performance, 3x I/O, and a 50% increase in performance per watt. And thank you very much for coming, and I look forward to speaking with many of you after. Christian.
Thanks so much, Lisa. Thanks to her and to the engineering team. We have about 20 times more demand for those products that we have just started shipping about 3-4 months ago than we had for the previous generation products. So this says how much important it is to innovate on new architectures, how much the performance is important, and how much energy efficiency is important, and how much trusted security is important. So, great work, and again, big congrats for this. We are going to move now to other devices. In clients, we are seeing the ultrabooks that are marking a new era of computing. It is really reigniting the PC category. It is a reinvention of the PCs, and it's really devices that are transforming very fast. And we're going to see what are also the the forthcoming transformations we are expecting from those devices. You are going to see here a selection of the latest ultrabooks that are available and will be available in the market by many OEMs, and we are expecting more to come throughout the year. And there are also a lot of software and services that have been launched very recently, whether it's Dixon's in the UK, whether it's UZ in Spain, other companies that are about to do launches on services and new experiences to be brought to the users. In terms of retailers, we are seeing a special experience zones for those products that are very different from the notebooks, and that are, I would say, the uncompromising convergence of great mobility and great levels of performance. The Ultrabook initiative is a global initiative to drive the PC innovation. This is us, but it's also the whole ecosystem, OEMs around the world. And today, Intel is working with many companies in Europe and around the world to recreate and reinvent the experience we are having on those devices. And to this effect, we have set up the recently announced $300 million Intel Capital Fund to accelerate the innovation as much as it is possible with other companies. And with this, I want to call here on stage our Director of Ultrabook Marketing, Worldwide Marketing, Karen Regis, who was here last year with us, showing the new experiences we'll have with those devices. And now here we have the devices. So Karen, thank you and welcome.
Thank you. Okay, I know that I'm one of the last things between you and food and drink, so I'll try to go quickly. I wanted to just let you know that I'm feeling very at home here on stage because you guys have brought along 25 of my best friends here, all these great ultrabooks, 26 if you count the one that I brought myself. And the first thing that you notice when you see these devices is that they're thin and light and stylish. But really, Ultrabook is about a lot more than just a pretty face. What we're doing with Ultrabook is to drive new usages and capabilities that end users want and increasingly demand from all of their devices. So Ultrabook really is about delivering that uncompromised experience that Christian talked about. Now, Intel does a lot of research to understand what end users want. And when we looked at what people want out of their mobile computing, it really boiled down to 4 main areas that are listed on the slide behind me, hopefully. The first one is flow. There's mobility without compromise, in control, and expression of self. Now I'm going to explain flow a little bit more to you because that's the one that's probably not the most obvious. Obviously, Intel is known for delivering performance. So when we start to talk to end users about what performance meant to them, it turns out it's not about speeds and feeds. It's really about having uninterrupted experiences, being able to stay in a flow, that feeling where everything's just happening, you're in the zone, time kind of melts away. So for an end user, performance isn't really a rational measurement, but rather it's a quality of the experience of time. And that was an important one for us. Now, don't get me wrong, processor and graphics performance is very important to delivering that flow. But flow is about more than just raw performance and responsiveness. It can be enabled by great things like instant on capability or touch, more natural user interfaces. And I'll talk more about those in just a bit. Mobility without compromise, pretty obvious there. That means being able to feel untethered, but stay connected to people and information regardless of where you are. I think the expression of self is another one that's evident. People want technology that reflects who they are. And then the in control really is about feeling safe and secure and in control of your device and your life and what you're doing. So when we looked at the Ultrabook and what the end users want, we started to parse this out into some key usages that are listed on the slide. The first one is about the expression, self-expression. You know, everyone has a story to tell. If you haven't been on Facebook or YouTube, then do that and you'll figure it out. Everyone has a story to tell. And we need to give people the ability to create those stories and to share them with the people that they care about. But we don't want to just deliver that experience, you know, without having it be responsive, without delivering that kind of flow, that uninterrupted experience that people want. People want peace of mind. They want a security that's not just a wrapper, but rather is integrated into the experience so they don't even have to think about it. And people want technology that is going to reflect who they are, what their style is, but it can't just be pretty. It's got to last all day long regardless of where they are, keep them connected. And of course, they want all of this in a choice of devices at affordable price points. So that's where we're focusing our efforts. There's a lot of enabling that's being done to make sure that these systems that are being delivered into the market are ultra thin, that style that we talked about at the cost-effective price point. So let me talk a little bit about what's happening there. We have engineering teams on the road weekly, meeting with third-party vendors who are supplying some of these thin ingredients like chassis, like displays, storage, optical drives, and batteries. You know, you can't just use the same old ingredients. But we not only have to make sure that they're available in sufficient capacity to support the ramp that we're driving, they have to be available in high volume manufacturing, and that will lower the cost. So you can read the slide and get a little bit more detail. What I wanted to point out is that we're just new in this effort. We kicked this off really with the Ultrabook Symposium that was held first in Taipei and then followed up in Shenzhen, and now is being held elsewhere around the world. This symposium was the first time that we brought together all these players from the different markets, not just our OEMs and ODMs who we work with regularly, but also all of the battery suppliers and chassis suppliers and everyone else in the industry. That event in August kicked off this activity, and since then you can see by the little symbols underneath each one of these how the progress has happened. So you can see that we have a line of sight to BOM reduction in the area of the chassis and the panels and the storage. And then of course in the optical drive and batteries, what we're doing there is driving up capacity and volume, which it will also have the economies of scale that Lisa talked about that will drive down cost. Now, all these feet in the street are not working alone. As Christian mentioned, we also have this little $300 million Ultrabook fund. And the Ultrabook fund, when we announced it, we talked about how it was going to focus on 3 things. One of those things was going to be this kind of BOM enabling, the bill of materials reduction and thin ingredient enabling that I talked about on the previous slide. But there are other areas that we're working on as well with this fund. One is to drive innovative new platform technologies. So think about things like touch capability on Ultrabooks, maybe gesture, some other cool platform technologies that will improve the experience. And then the third area is focused on delivering those wow experiences that consumers and business users alike will crave. And this can't be done in hardware alone, so the focus there is on a combination of hardware, software, and services. Now, the most prominent example is one that Christian had on his slide, and that's what Intel announced last November with MasterCard. Now, through this collaboration, MasterCard is bringing their expertise in the area of payment processing, as well as commerce, and marrying that with Intel's strength in silicon innovation and hardware-based security to provide a secure online shopping experience. So the idea is that for online merchants and consumers with Ultrabooks, they'll be able to have a simple and secure online transaction. And we've demoed this in a couple of places. We showed it at CES. If you haven't seen this demo, you can probably go online and find it. I don't have it with me today, sorry about that. But I do have another demo. And this one is in the area of augmented reality. Now, this is an area that I'm really excited about because when I'm shopping online, the experience is so 2D and flat. I'd love to be able to virtually try on clothes. I'd like to have a more immersive, rich experience. I'm not going to demo this for you today, but I have Thomas from Total Immersion with me here, and he's going to walk you through a demo. Welcome, Thomas.
Okay, thanks, Carla. So, can you hear me? Okay. Let me introduce myself. I'm Thomas Baldhoff, and I'm running the business in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland for Total Immersion. And Total Immersion is the market and technology leader for augmented reality. And yeah, we are here to explain you a bit more about this great immersive shopping experience you could do with the Ultrabook. So just imagine you want to buy something online in an online shop, and you're sitting in front of your Ultrabook and just using your gestures, so like this, and then the products appear. So you could just use your hands moving the products, and if you then find something which is interesting for you, like these glasses, just choose them, and you might be able to try it on. So you can see yourself with the product and could really have a better feeling if it fits to your style and your personal stuff. So another idea we had is to try on clothes like this one. So again, you're looking into your Ultrabook camera, and then you have the hat on. This actually works with many haptic products like watches, like earrings, like jewelry in general, but also with clothes. So yeah, then at the end we also have the shopping experience for hardware. So just imagine you want to see the latest ultrabook in front of you and you want to experience it further. Just go ahead and choose the feature you would like to see more in detail. So, and then move it away. And also choose the second one, see what it's all about, move it away, and of course the last one. So you see, with the natural gesture interaction, you could really do a great immersive shopping experience with ultrabook. And the best thing, it's available already, so all your readers, viewers, listeners can use this technology already in their stores. And we have this available also in the ultrabook zone in Hall 23. We have a nice Formula One augmented reality demo, which you are invited to go there and drive a Formula One car just using a piece of paper. And with face tracking, you will get a helmet on and see all the experience. So, thanks.
Thank you, Thomas. That's going to be cool. I'm really excited about that. But Thomas touched a little bit more on that human-machine interface that I mentioned earlier. And that's another focus area for Ultrabook. We're working to make the interface between you and your Ultrabook more natural, intuitive, and fun. And if you think about it, in the decades that mobile PCs have been around, not much has really changed in the user interface. Anyone remember DOS? That text-based, yeah, I've used DOS, I'll admit it. Not user-friendly at all. So we had to live with that for a while until we came out with the graphical user interface, which married with the mouse made things a whole lot easier. But think about it, since then, not much has really happened in the PC space. Now, touch has moved very quickly into the tablet and the smartphone space, but you know, to date, it's largely passed over the PC space. Yeah, it's in some all-in-ones, but it really hasn't made it in any significant way into the PC space. We want to change that with Ultrabook. We see a huge opportunity here, not just with touch, but also with things like gesture and voice, and even things beyond that. So we know that touch has a high user appeal for devices like tablets and slates and sliders, whatever. Stuff that looks more tablet-like. But what about a clamshell? We thought about it. We thought, if an OEM could have an option where they could have the same base chassis and choose to populate either with a thin display, a standard thin display, or a touch display, that would give choice to the end user and it'd give them a sell-up path. So we did some research. And what we did is we went to 4 cities around the world, talked to 81 users, and had them do a whole variety of tasks. So they did things like they got news online and read it, they had to do some Google search, they did some email, they got a photo and captioned it and posted it, and so forth. And within each one of those activities, there were several different discrete actions. So we looked at how many times they went to touch for the action, 75% of the time. And this is over an hour-long period. 75% of the time, they went to the touch on a clamshell. They said it was fun, it gave them a good range of movement. They said this was work, this is play. But it really, really had high appeal. One thing that came across loud and clear is don't take away our keyboards. When you need it for doing things like captioning that photo and doing email, you really do need it. So we're really excited about the opportunities here. And just to show you that it's real and it could happen, it will happen, I have a touch-enabled Ultrabook that I brought with me today. This is an Intel reference design. And I have on it a Zinio e-reader. And you can see that I can just browse through different magazines that I've subscribed to. And I'll go ahead and go to some downloaded content. And it just pops right up. I can go page by page. I'm doing this left-handed and right-handed, so if something happens, I'll blame that. I can go into, page mode and pick the page that I want to go to. This is a Windows 7 based machine, but with touch capability built in. So again, really excited about the possibilities here. And I just wanted to wrap it up by saying that we're just getting started. Intel is all in for Ultrabook. We have reinvented our roadmap. We have some new capabilities, not just of silicon, but other technologies coming down the road because Ultrabook is a journey. We're putting huge effort into a marketing campaign that's going to be our biggest campaign since Centrino, and that'll kick off next month. And last but not least, we're investing for success. So, hope you'll follow us on our journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Karin. Karin was right. She was the last lady between now and the break. And now we have 3 men before the break, but it's going to go very fast. The first one is very important. We have been talking about servers. We have been talking about ultrabooks. When you have a very, very thin and light and personalized device, you also need something great to carry it. So we have been working with a leading breakthrough designer to really come up with designs of places where you can put your ultrabooks and carry them around. So without further ado, I would like to roll a video and then I will introduce the man on stage.
We wanted to create something that hadn't existed like anything before.
Michel Michalski is one of the absolute top designers. His motto is real clothes for real people.
I wanted to tell the story of the Ultrabook itself, which for me is a modern, high-tech, timeless status symbol.
It's a real great example of bags that are fully functional, as well as very, very stylish. Two worlds are really coming together.
Mikal, please join me on stage. Please join me in joining me. Mikal, great to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much for joining us. We have been engaging now for some time
Yes.
on the designs. So first of all, why are you interested by technology?
For me, technology plays a very great part in my everyday life. I'm a techie. I might not look like a techie because I've seen a lot of techies here on CeBIT and they look a little bit different.
A Y generation techie you look like.
And it's not only important for my everyday work, but it's also a great inspiration, and it's also changed the boundaries for my life from personal work to private engagements.
So we are really proud, and it's been a great experience working with you, having the teams working together. What is it that you have found compelling in working with those devices, the ultrabooks, and what are the ideas that came up to your mind when you started thinking about this?
First of all, I was very, very much intrigued by the way the Ultrabook looks, and we have 25 really great examples here. And I think in today's life, gadgets are more than just gadgets. Gadgets are a status symbol, and gadgets are an extension of your expression. And I was very, very, very impressed by the fact that it will change all our lives, because when I designed it, it was said like that also in the introduction video. I design clothes for real people. My mantra is real clothes for real people. And the main target consumer I have are urban nomads. Those are people who are constantly on the run and that possibly work in jobs that don't stop at 5 o'clock in the afternoon and that always want to be connected. And I think the Ultrabook is a very, very cool new gadget to enable you to lead that lifestyle of an urban nomad.
So Mikal, since I haven't seen them yet, I haven't seen what you have been designing for the ultrabooks, What is it that you have for us, that you have done?
Okay, for me it was very, very important to design more than one bag, because I think with the ultrabook being able to address people's individual needs and individuality, I also thought it was important to offer more than just one bag. And for me it also was very, very important to offer bags not only for men, because I feel most of the computer bags you see these days around are very designed towards a male consumer, and I think in today's world it really has changed. There is, at least in my environment, there is as many women, if not more women, being smitten by the latest technologies and the latest gadgets. So I've developed 2 bags for women and 2 bags for men. I will show you the first 2, and maybe I say a little bit about them too.
Great.
I hope I'm not destroying the display now. Okay, this is one for men and this is one for women. The idea was to also transport the message of the high-class design that in my eyes stands for timelessness, luxury and high-end product. I wanted to do that also. That's why I've chosen a very, very soft leather. And that's why I wanted the protective element to be part of the design. That's why you see all this quilting. And also I didn't really want to hide this beautiful laptop. So there is some bags where, of course, you can park your laptop inside the bag, but there is also the idea of having 2-in-1 with most of the bags. That's why I wanted to put the laptop on the outside. On this particular briefcase, which is for men, you can really see that the garage or that the laptop case is on the outside, and so you can wear it with pride. This is a women's bag. There I wanted it to move it away from a typical masculine silhouette. So a lot of women that I know love tote styles. So here we created a garage in the side, and you can park your ultrabook in the side. And another thing which you can't see right now, but which is very important for me, is to keep all the cables with you. And I'm personally always freaked out when I travel and I'm looking for my cables. So all of these bags have a separate bag inside that is where you park all the cables and adapters that you need, and you will find it right away because it's positioned in a position where you can find it all the time, very easily.
That's great, Mikael. Thanks so much. And I think we're going to be keeping on cooperating, looking forward to further developments together, further innovations. And it's really just the start of our cooperation, and it's really great you could join us today to speak about it, and what additional ideas you might want to share with us on things you would like to do.
First of all, I think there's 2 more bags I'd like to show. I don't know if there's enough time. I think I've talked too much. This, of course, is a bag where the laptop case becomes actually a clutch. It's a style that's particularly for women, so you can wear it as an evening clutch, because a lot of women like to take a second bag with them when they carry their laptop around. And then this is a backpack that is also converting into a briefcase, and here you can see the garage for the ultrabook that you can unzip. And here you can see another lovely design detail. Inside, all the mail bags are in a Intel type of blue lined. The women's ones are actually lined in a dusty pink. So, because I think it's a very masculine color. And what's important is it's convertible, it's protective, it's timeless, and all those bags are handmade in Germany in a very small workshop. And they only use the best materials, exactly like the ingredients in the ultrabook.
Okay. So, Mikael, when can we get access to those great bags, and where will you position them, in terms, from a availability, pricing standpoint, etc., etc.?
Well, we've been very impressed also by your efforts in online shopping. So, from today onwards, you can pre-order those bags on the Mikalski website, but also on the Intel website. There is a link. They will be delivered from May onwards, And as I said, they're handmade in the best leathers and the best accessories. And they will start from about 700 euros, because again, they're handmade. But in the future, there will probably be also further more projects where maybe instead of a leather, there will be used slightly more affordable materials than maybe nylons or stuff.
Great, Mikael. Thanks so much. Congratulations for the designs, and we look forward to the ongoing cooperation.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks so much. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, today we spoke about our vision of computing, our technologies, our investments. There is certainly some economical uncertainty as we speak around the world. We have decided to invest even more in research and development, to invest even more in new technologies, to bring the absolute best technologies to the market as fast as we can, and to keep on innovating. We have shared with you for the first time our most recent server and mobile products that we have been talking about today. How the Intel Xeon Processor E5 product families are at the heart of a flexible and efficient data center infrastructure that meet different needs for the business environment. How the ultrabooks mark a new era of computing with the new experiences based on software, services, and new accessories. And with that, let me close today's press conference by calling Horkar here on stage, who's going to be talking to us about the next experience we're going to have. And I want to thank Karen, Lisa, and Mikael for having joined us today on stage. So thanks you very much.